So yesterday I was in the car and I made a very short, it was barely 2 minutes long, and I talked about how it hit me that they're doing all these massive document dumps on us, massive photo dumps on us, a lot like what they did to the defense team for Brian Koberger. They're doing to us. And because that's how it feels. I can imagine what Ann Taylor was going through. I can only imagine. My God. But does it not feel like they are trying to distract us with this? Because there's so many people. I mean, I just spent the longest time looking at different videos of folks that have been talking about certain Idaho 4 topics, ranging from the photos that were released, to the WSU lawsuit, to the BK guilters, talking about, how he's so guilty and all this stuff. And then I come across that girl that was saying that his DNA was all over the house. Still have no proof of that. But my point is this, is that has anybody ever thought, what is it about this case that really does keep us going? And, I did kind of answer that earlier, and I said that for myself anyways, I was kind of speaking in general, but for myself, it's because we know Idaho lied. We know that Moscow lied. We know that there's something that's not smelling right with this whole case. We've known it since November 2022. Some of us didn't know it until like 6 months later, like myself. But eventually we got there. And especially when the 911 call didn't come in until 8 hours later. Then we get all these photos with all of this massive blood everywhere. So here's my question today is, we talked about a cleanup at one time, about how there was even possibly some painting done. So if there was a cleanup done, why are we seeing photos with all this blood when we were seeing photos with things cleaned, everything cleaned up? So when were the photos taken? Do you guys follow me here? When were those photos taken with the massive amounts of red stuff and all that stuff? I'm going to try to be TikTok appropriate. Red stuff all over the place. That wasn't how it looked, you guys. When when the first responders got there and they walk in and they're redacting certain things, it's not fitting. It's not fitting the scene. It's not fitting the pictures that we're seeing now. And so when did the cleanup happen? And who did it? Are we still thinking that the Dylan and her friends did the cleanup? Or is there a possibility that nobody cleaned up? Because now we're seeing writing on Dylan's door jamb, or wherever that writing was, near her door, in blood. And you know what's funny? This isn't funny. These glasses are. But there was somebody that referenced this crime to the Manson murders. And for any of you folks out here in TikTok world who are old enough, like me, to remember the Manson murders, they did a lot of that. They would write in blood. They wrote pig, because Manson wanted to make it look witchy, and wanted the police to be deceived and think that it was the African American group that did this, so that he would start a race war. That was his whole agenda. He wanted a race war. Well, the more I think about this crime scene and now these photos that we've been seeing, it does look like the Tate murders. It does, you guys. It looks identical to it. The ropes that that Phoenix Talks showed, that was outside the home, that had looked like nooses and stuff, and all these knots and stuff. They used ropes with the Tates at the Tate house with her and the hairdresser. They tied them up. There's so many similarities to that case, the Manson case. And it never hit me until today when I really was looking at that writing and trying to figure out what it said. Now, last night on Birdie's Live, they were talking and showing that, and one of his moderators was able to mirror it with a mirror and was able to make out Adam. And we all know who Adam is, right? What did you tell Adam, Kaylee? I told him, Maddie said to Kaylee, what did you tell Adam? I told him everything. So were these things done to throw off the police? Because the only person that would have known about that would have been Jack Showalter. He's the only one that would have known that the girls had that discussion. So it makes me wonder if they did these certain little things to make it look like it was done by certain individuals, is what I'm getting at. Because I haven't heard much about Adam. In fact, I don't know where Adam is. I don't know if he's still around. I don't know where much of any of these kids are anymore. I think that they just kind of took off. I don't know. I think that Dylan is still in Idaho, but I would think that she would be somewhere far away from Idaho. But as far as the main ones like Hunter Johnson and his girlfriend, where are they at? Because they did live. In fact, I seen a video where someone did the coordinates, and his address actually is the 1122 King Road house. Isn't that weird? I'll have to find that and show you guys if you guys don't know what I'm talking about. But he did the actual coordinates from Google Maps, and it went right to Hunter Johnson's house or apartment or whatever he was living in. But where are these people? Where are these kids? Where are they hanging out at? I'm gonna go find them. I need to have a talk. I need to have a sit down with them, and I'll be sure to bring these.